Now, it seems as if obedience is a pretty big deal to God. He seems to promise that in our obedience, He defeats our enemies. And that, not just the physical enemies. No, He's not just going to whoosh down and kill someone you dislike, but the spiritual enemies. We see this all through the book of Judges. Joshua, in his obedience, he was able to conquer the lands. And I'm really enjoying 2 Kings right now. We have 2 Kings 3. And it talks about these 3 kings. Now, we had 2 wicked kings. We had Jehoram, which is Ahab's son, king of Israel. We have Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah. And we have, well, it says a king of Edom, but I don't believe they had a king. But anyways, Jehoram and Edom, not good guys. But Edom's actually their enemy. So I'm confused by that one. I need to do more research. Why they got together, I guess just to take out the same enemy they had. And then Jehoshaphat, which is a godly king. And they were like, let's get together and go against Moab. So they get together, and it's a 7-day journey in the desert. They begin to die of exhaustion and dehydration. They needed water. Jehoram kind of, oh, God's delivering us into their hands, blah, blah. Jehoshaphat's like, don't talk like that. Let's grab a prophet of God. They grab Elisha, who's not too happy about it. They mention an unnamed musician. I wonder if that has to do with the Holy Spirit, because suddenly Elisha can now, because it's worship, and now Elisha is able to prophesy and let them know, like, hey, this is easy for God. You just need to dig some ditches. So first off, God gives them something they can do. You can dig ditches, right? You can dig trenches. And God said, I'm going to fill these with water, but not with rain, so they can't look up in the sky and be like, oh yes, I see the promise of God is showing up. Not with rain, not with wind, so they can't feel it coming, but He's gonna supernaturally fill them somehow, which must have been like some type of downpour down in Edom's mountains, and because the water began coming in, filling up the trenches. And God also promises not just to fulfill their immediate need, but He also promises that He's going to take out their enemies. So in their obedience, their immediate need was met, and their enemy was defeated. So He took out the Moabites. They saw the water and thought the sun reflected as blood, and they thought that the kings killed each other. And so they ran down there to get the loot, and that's when they got slaughtered. And then some really disgusting thing, they chased the Moabite king, and he's absolutely disgusting. They were so disgusted that they just had to walk away. They couldn't even take out the king because they were so grossed out, because he chose to burn as a sacrifice his oldest son, who was supposed to take the throne next, the prince. So I'm thinking this is a grown man. I'm not sure. But yeah, they were involved. So there's actually stone they found, archaeology, the Moabite stone, where he gives his God's credit for delivering him from the Israelites, which no, they were just so disgusted by you. How could you? And then we have the widow's oil. So the woman who went to Elisha and they were going to take her sons as payment because her husband died. And he said, what do you have? And all she had was 1 flask of oil. And that's all God needs to use. He gave her another thing that she could do it. She can fill oil, right? And she, as much as she filled, so just fill up all the, she went to all the neighbors and got as many jars and pots and pans that she could, and the oil kept flowing. And then she could sell all the oil. She just did it. She didn't question him and say, how is that going to help? Nothing. She just obeyed and did what he said, because her husband was a prophet, so she knew how God worked. And same with digging the trenches. Depending on how much work they put into it, depended on how much God could provide. And that's a big deal. It's preparation and faith in the dry season. I always think of it like, when I study my Bible, I'm like, oh, I don't feel like it. God's like, you're digging ditches. Keep on doing it, because someday he can use all this Bible knowledge that we have, and someday we may need it. Like the proverb, if you're too lazy to plow in the right season, you'll have nothing at harvest time. Or so. Anyways, we got to put our effort in right now when life is easy and comfortable, and we can choose like, if I want to read or not, and we just do it. We just study our Bibles. God's going to use that someday. He's going to bless us through it. But this is a big one. Naaman. This was a fascinating one, because Israel and Syria were at war with each other, and Syria kept winning because Jehoram is just such a bad king. He's not obedient at all. So Syria keeps winning, and Naaman, he is the commander of Syria. He's a Gentile, he's a pagan. And God, they went and they stole a little Israeli girl, and she let them know, hey, Naaman could get healed if we go to the prophet in Israel. And so Naaman talks to the king of Syria, and he's like, okay, here's like $1 million, go meet up with the king. And so he goes to Israel. Syrian king sends Naaman, who's winning all these battles against Israel, to the king of Israel, and he's freaked out. He's thinking they're setting him up. He's like, who am I that I can heal a man? What are they thinking? He's in distress. Elisha's like, just send him down to me. So Naaman goes down to Elisha, and he's greatly offended because Elisha didn't even come out to meet him. He sent his messenger out, and he's an honorable man, so he couldn't imagine not being met. This is spiritual pride. That's Naaman's enemy. He has pride. But then he also has self-doubt, because the messenger tells him, you just got to wash off in the Jordan 7 times. Dunk yourself 7 times, and God will heal you of your leprosy. And he's offended. He's like, why? He thought he had God figured out. He's like, why do I have to go dip myself in the Jordan? I can do that in my own hometown. And then he had a man of wisdom show up and say, hey, if you wanted him to go do some crazy thing, you'd definitely listen and do it. But because he's telling you something so easy, something that you can simply do. Again, God gives us things that we can do, not things that we can't do, that are out of, too much for us. He doesn't do that. He's a great, great God. He's a great Father. He just wants our obedience. So he takes the word of wisdom, and he goes and dunks himself, and he comes up completely healed. So now he goes up to Elisha. So his pride is defeated in his obedience. He got rid of that self-pride, that enemy that he was struggling with. And he now is confessing that God is the only true God. So now his self-doubt is gone. So he defeated 2 enemies in 1. This is a big deal. Obedience shows us that God defeats our enemies. He heals it, and he gives us things that we can simply do. So if you have addictions and you're struggling with stuff, just be obedient to God. And then if you're struggling through the obedience, you keep asking him, be with me, help me. You just keep asking him. You have to learn to depend on him. Hebrews 11:6 says that it is impossible to please God without faith. Faith is depending and trusting God. At least that's my understanding of it. So you have to trust him. Believe that he is going to deliver you. If he's promised this, in your obedience, he'll deliver you. He will save you from your enemies. He will defeat your enemies. Then work hand in hand with him and get through this. He can help you a lot. He really can. And so I think this is really, really big deal, studying obedience in the Bible. We see it all throughout the Bible. It's just obedience, isn't it? He warns us. We have a lot of examples of how to be. We want to be. Our obedience is following the life of Christ. Christ didn't give in to his temptations, and neither should we.